I would still have to stop. Okay.
This meeting is now called to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Bacon,
Here.
Mr. DeCosta,
Here.
Mr. Lawrence,
Here.
Ms. Lewis,
Here.
Ms. Martin,
Here.
Mr. Thielacker,
Here.
President Bioki,
Present.
Mayor DeMarco, Mr. Corbel, Mr. Brett, Chief Williams, and I'm present as well. And I'd like to remind you that when you're talking, you need to do what I'm doing and talk into the microphone, because otherwise these recordings do not pick up. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment. At this time, only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Forest Hills will be permitted to address council on an issue, whether appearing on today's agenda or not. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them, who may speak for a maximum of 10 minutes. Speakers are asked to use the microphone. Speakers stand clearly, state your name and spell it, and state your address for the record. If you have any documents to share with the council members, you may present them to the borough manager now. Council president will determine how those materials will be distributed and viewed for the meeting. Speakers are reminded that council uses these comment periods as opportunities to gather information and not to respond directly to concerns raised. Information gathered will not be discussed at the meeting, but instead will be referred by the council president to the appropriate committee for review and discussion at the next committee meeting. If it is not a matter for deliberation by a committee, but requires more immediate attention, it will be referred to the borough manager, who will respond by phone and or email within 5 business days following this meeting. Anyone in the audience that would like to speak?
It's Madison, 14010 in front to this, I see. So I'm here to talk about this situation. What I will call a daily or probably. Participation at committee meetings. And I'm going to break this down into 2 different parts. Number one, the part that reduced the number of council people that come to the meetings. Meetings, and last year there was some discussion about that. And I believe that I can't find a vote, but there was a discussion. As a matter of fact, Ms. Martin, she was opposed to the situation. She really wanted to keep it informed. As to how that transpired, I don't know to go through. But assuming it was done properly, that's where we're at. Now, because you reduced it to 3 people, doesn't mean that people from the residents can't come. That has to be a separate. So I want to take you back to January 28th, a conversation with the councilman, Councilwoman, in which I said, hey, I'd like to come to the meeting. She said, fine, she gave me the time, date, and place, and then subsequently, I got the following bill, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to rescind the invitation. So how does that happen? So I've researched this, I cannot find anywhere where this council debated, discussed the issue about people not coming to the meetings. There's no vote that I can find, something that relates to this. So and I've got a right to know request in trying to find out if there are any such things. So, taking the first part, the 3 people at the committee meetings. If I believe that was used now to circumvent participation. Oh, well, we have 3, so legally, what we can do is say, well, we would have to invite anybody from the borough. No residents have. I don't think that's the right thing. And I don't believe that the majority of you believe in that. So how do you solve this problem? Number one, somebody has to make a motion. Somebody has to say, I want do X, Y, and Z. Easiest way to do this is at the next public meeting, under either old business or new business. So what you do is you say, I move to do X, Y, or Z. So let's say Ms. Lewis, for example, is there change the policy, which she seemed to be at the last meeting. She would make the motion. Then it would be a second. So let's say Mr. Thielhofer then says, I second that. So then what would happen is as follows. There would be discussion which would take place. So everybody would get their input in public. Everybody can see what you're saying and where your place is. Okay, then you would have to call for comment, because if it's not on the agenda, you have to give people at the meeting a chance to speak. They would then speak, and then you would vote on the motion. So then every one of you would have to vote in public and say, I agree with it, or I don't agree. So now we have transparency, which I don't believe exists right now in regards to this. Watching the tape the last time, I believe there's at least 3 of you that are in position to vote for this thing, to be brought back to where we have public participation, resident participation in these meetings. So that means we would have a 4 if Ms. Martin would be, go back to her original position and say, oh, I want to do this in the first place. So that's not looking for you to take the issues, to do it publicly, state your positions, vote on it, so everybody in the room can see exactly where you stand. I don't think that's being unfair. So that's what I would like you to do. And all it takes is 4. And I truly believe that down on the inside, you all believe, most of you believe, that that's the way it should be. So it's not a matter of being equal. It's a matter of right and wrong. Which of these things supports the residents? Which of these serves the residents? And that's what I'm asking you to do. Make it open, make it transparent, and let everybody know your position on this issue. I'll be around for the meeting at the end, and I'll be willing to talk to any of you if you have any questions or concerns about the issues that have been raised. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on to the, anyone else? No? Okay. Before we move on to the committee reports, I just want to mention, recently we were notified that the congressionally directed spending for the FY27 opened. We've been applying for that the last 2-3 years, and that's for the appropriations for community projects. This involves our storm sewer replacement and sanitary sewer access improvement project, which is between Avenue K and Avenue F. We have received some money over the last year. So I just want to let everyone know we are reapplying for that again. I've already secured the letters of support from Senator Costa and Representative Salisbury. Anybody have any questions about that? No, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on to the committee reports, operations and policy.
Thank you, Mr. President. A number of things. One, we have a motion to appoint the following 3 candidates for membership in the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee. They were recommended by the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee, sent to operations and policy, and now we're bringing to you. You have the applications in an email. Can we go ahead and put that on the business meeting? Thank you.
Did we miss one, just the
That one, here's the 4th one that's done.
the pool house?
Oh, I'm sorry, you did. I get that. Yes, okay, we have a motion for pool hire for 2026 season as recommended by Mr. Green. What do we need to go to proceed that? Just put that on the business minute.
Yeah, I think Mr. Morris forwarded the look around.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Mr. One forwarded the list earlier this week, and that's typically on the business meeting agenda for consideration.
We okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, okay. Keep going. I'm gonna pass this to Mr. Morris. It's a fairly pro forma thing, but we need a resolution to handle the CDBG and explain what that is, Mr. Morris.
Yeah, this really is called Urban County Renewal. It has to do with Community Development Block Grant Program or CDBG. Every couple of years, and I'm speaking based on what I remember from before I retired, just so you know. So there might be some little tweaks that have changed, but basically, every couple of years now, the county will ask municipalities to either opt in or opt out of the CDBG program, because opting in gives the county the ability to get more money for the Community Development Block Grant Program. So they ask you to pass a resolution for that opt-in if you're willing to do it. And the reason why Forest Hills might want to do that, and which we did 3 years before, because this is every 3 years they do this. Because that way the county can get more funds. Now, does Forest Hills qualify for community development block grants? My understanding from May of 2024 and before is that rarely do we, unless there is something related to helping people with disabilities, et cetera, or elderly or something like that. But it's limited as to what we can get money for now. It used to be a lot more open. So consequently, that's what they're asking you to do, prove a resolution endorsing it if you choose to opt in. You don't have to. It's purely up to you. And again, it's purely really to support the county and possibly also, of course, for Forest Hills to be eligible for funding should we be considered eligible. Does anybody have any questions about that? I'm not sure if I'm being clear or not. So what that would mean would be a motion at the next meeting to approve a resolution to that effect. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Mr. Morris, did, those communications usually flow through the COGS from the county to the COGS? And
Yes.
typically the county sends the sample resolution. Did we get that?
Yeah, we have it.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry.
Anyone else on that topic?
That's all.
Okay, just to backtrack, so the action items, we need a motion to approve pool hires, a motion to approve the membership in the arts and culture, and a motion to approve that. Whatever you want to call it. Okay. The next thing is, this is just informational, and I really have to credit Mr. Morris for this. About a week or two ago, I sent out to everyone a very long document that's focused on each committee that encourages you to really poke at the things that we spend money on. And I can't take credit for it. Mr. Morris put that out every year. It does encourage you to really rethink. And I know when we had in the budget in November, we said, hey, we've got to really evaluate what we're doing. And we wanted to get the budget process going in June. So this would be a time in the next 2 months for your committee to look at those, maybe not take those questions, but come up with some new things to look at. So, yes, but
Could I clarify one thing? What I gave to Councilman Lawrence was from the 2024 budget book. Every year, before I put anything in the book or publish that for council to look at, I would update it. So it may have some questions in there that don't apply any longer. And there may be some programs that are not mentioned in there because I've not been here for 18, 19 months, something like that. I don't know, whatever. So just so you're aware of that.
thank you. Yeah, the idea is to really almost, as I said before, it's 70 zero-based budgeting. Look at why do we do what we do? Really poke at things that we just take for granted. So, anyway. Third, at the business meeting, in February, discussion of the committee structure came up. It was passed off some policies will be meeting next week. I think everyone on council is encouraged to pass along their ideas, and some very, very innovative ideas of how to approach it, so all you can through. You also have a sample that came to your email, you looked at it last agenda meeting. It is a proposed welcome letter be sent out to new residents. I think the main suggestion was we had a farmer's market because that is a big seller for people, and that's been added. Did anybody have any problems with going through the text you got at this point? Can we do that then? All right. Solar resolution status, community solar. Yeah, you got another thing for me. Getting bored. Real quickly, so they understand what's going on, I know you all do, but this is the community solar. Mr. Pike came to us, I think in November or December, requesting a resolution encouraging passage of legislation in the state by the state. Very quickly, could Ms. Lewis, could you explain very quickly what the community solar concept is?
Sure. There have been a couple iterations of legislation that have gone through Pennsylvania. Currently, the governor has called for the Community Energy Act. I think they call it the lighting bill. Lighting bill plan. Lightning plan. Anyway, this piece of legislation was passed in the House. It's House Bill 504. It's currently sitting in the Senate, and it would legalize in Pennsylvania community solar. And what that would mean, like right now, you can put a solar panel on your house and reap the benefits of energy savings and a reduction in your utility bill. But if you're a renter, you can't do that. Furthermore, you can't share that with your neighbor. And so this bill would open up more implementations of the use of solar for multifamily households, for renters, for shared solar projects. Also, it could benefit farmers. The Tricog Land Bank actually has looked into this. So there's lots of beneficiaries. I don't see any reason why Phillips wouldn't, support this and send a message as many other municipalities locally and across the state have.
Any questions on? Yes,
I just wanted to add to that, this would also enhance some of the provisions of our own climate plan, which are curtailed right now because we don't have the ability to share solar from, communal space. And that has to be
okay, does anybody object, without touching the resolution, does anyone have objection to us passing a resolution encouraging this action?
Yeah.
Okay, great. There is a sample resolution there. I actually got about 5 different samples from various places in the state. They all pretty much copy each other. I don't know where the original came from. If it's okay, I'll pass this to the solicitor to review it. I think it's pretty straightforward.
I looked at it.
You can, then we can put this on this. The only thing I would ask, would suggest from this, somewhere down in the middle, it starts to give some statistics encouraging why you would do this. Our statement is this is good, and the state say why it's good. The reason I'm suggesting we drop 3 of those sections regarding statistics is I could not find the source anywhere and wasn't really comfortable that we'd have something that if someone had a problem with this, a resident had a problem, and say, where'd you get the numbers, and say they have a teeth or not. So, and I don't think it matters that we move those. So if that's okay, we can move forward.
Yes.
Thank you. We're almost done here. Oh, yes. Now there's a request, our comprehensive and climate action plan needs a little scrubbing up and updating, I believe. Who can address Can someone outline for me exactly where you think we need to go with this? With the mayor, has some ideas?
The comprehensive plan for development was done, in 2019. And, we are in the process of actively applying for grants. And we need to have an updated, comp plan within the next 2 weeks.
Did you speak into the microphone?
I am speaking.
Closer.
We should update our comp plan in order to be current with grant applications. And also, there has been a considerable effort through the Forest Hills Community Alliance that could pretty much inform that update without too much additional work. The data on the demographics and so forth is readily available. I'm more than happy to help. I believe the planning commission is also willing to help. And regarding the climate plan, the 2025 benchmark has not been entered yet. And that's a matter of assembling the data and putting them in. The Isley model that we use is no longer supported. They've upgraded to something that costs a lot more. I'm not sure we need to update the modeling in order to update the benchmark entry, just to track where we are on the process. Again, that's a matter of entering data. I would have to sit with Allison and get the December utility reports and then get the utilities to get the townwide information we need. And I'm more than happy to help with that.
Anyone else before we? Suggestions? Suggestion? Okay, am I correct in understanding the comprehensive plan issue has to be sent to the planning commission?
That's correct.
Yeah, it needs to be sent to the planning commission, so that needs to be done. As far as the climate action plan, is that a fairly routine process, Mr. Morris? How we get that done?
Climate
Maybe
action
now.
plan?
Demographics?
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Okay. Well, I'll be in, maybe you and I can talk about
Okay.
this may be just a logistical.
Is that
process.
something that'll be part of the comp plan you're saying, or just no?
Climate action plan,
Yeah, I'm saying that's not part, that's what the mayor is saying, it's not part of it.
right?
Yeah, we should probably talk things, I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll check with you later.
Okay.
Then we can, that'll be our action plan for that. Yes, sir.
Snapchat, I send that to the EAC. I think that ended up on pay the initial one fee.
I'm not following, I'm sorry.
The climate action plan was developed in conjunction with input from the Environmental Advisory Council. I believe Mayor DeMarco was also instrumental in providing some of
We
that.
had an intern at that time, but again, if we're not running a model, I'm not sure we need an intern. It's a matter of amassing the data and putting it into the graph.
Right, and I looked at the plan and it looked like basically we needed to update some of the things that, all the things that were in the plan are still valid and moving forward, just need to update it, as you say.
And also to reflect some of the things that we've done in the intervening period.
Would it be more appropriate to send this directly to the EAC and they can coordinate?
With pleasure.
Yes, Ms. Lewis.
Planning and zoning doesn't do a whole lot currently. And would you like for me to pick that up and coordinate with the EAC? And our.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah,
Any objections?
since it
Sure.
seems like you have a long list.
Go to town, thank you. So
Welcome.
there's the action item on that one. Okay. Let's see, it's technically done. Is anything else here? I don't think I've missed anything. So I think that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence, and congratulations. You have 5 motions coming out of that report. Finance Committee is next, Mr. Thielacker.
Thank you, Mr. President. All normal stuff, review this month, the students' final budgets and out, just to look at that. We have John Frederick, we notified that he has to draw a hardship, the hardship letter, so we'll do that.
I'm just wondering if you've been able to have discussions with the committee chairs about submitting their preliminary budget request so we can get started before the summer with some announcement made and everything.
If not running, but I'll send my email, follow up, things like that. The new committee chairs, and he was to make budgetary items to move forward to the next year, with someone else to take over them.
Are you,
I'm sorry, I believe that's it.
Okay,
Everything else
thank you,
is-
Mr.
That's
Peterson.
it.
next up is Borough Property, Mr. Bacon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Originally, our general report was just that things are continuing on with the various projects. However, we did have a new item brought to our attention today by Mr. Rumor. This is coming up at the pool renovation project. And there is a opportunity presented by FMS Construction, the primary contractor, for us to paint the upper balcony railing structure at the pool lodge, which was not in the original scope of the renovations downstairs. And walking around and checking it out today, it is something that I think we need to be doing as soon as possible, and along with this other work, both to get a good deal, and because it is very significantly peeling, there's a lot of rust, especially down near the structural base of each of these balcony spindles. The quote given by the contractor was $3,960 for the entire upper railing, which we go including Public Works and Mr. Reed, I don't know, Mr. Norris, if you would also say this is your opinion, but they seem to think this is a good deal, just as far as the price, and it is a maintenance item that we will need to address soon. And I don't think we want to have another random situation like we had at the Westinghouse Lodge that became far more expensive than the maintenance because it was interrupted for a while. So this is less, well, it's roughly about 0.5% of the total project budget that we would be needing definitely elsewhere to do this at the same time. But I think we need to go forward with whatever we would be required to do to approve this if people are in agreement. Mr. Beard.
So, you were talking about rusting, now you're talking about painting the railing, not replacing it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, you talked about rust at the bottom. Has anyone looked at that to make sure that it is structurally sound?
I think it's a question for LSSD.
Okay, because I don't want someone leaning over the railing and finding out it doesn't hold it. So before we move on, I think that'd be the first step, perhaps.
I think it's fair, to everyone's opinion, you mentioned so far, is that it's still in decent structural shape, but it is at risk if not addressed. So, yeah, we can look, to get an official opinion from LSSD. Do we have any further questions or comments on? Overall, we do have a few other change orders that have already been approved as like strictly necessary to ongoing work and as part of the scope of the original project. They've been pretty small so far. Just things like sewer pipes that were in not as good shape as expected. And otherwise, it is continuing on the case for the time for the season. So I think would we want to have a motion to approve this at the business meeting, assuming we can get analysis, the opinion before then as well? Just to cross all our T's.
Yeah.
All right, that is all for our property.
Thank you, Mr. Bacon. Planning and zoning, Ms. Lewis.
I just wanted to update folks on Adam Smasher's site. Mr. DeCrosta connected me with Dove Waldman, who I thought was already owned this site. It seems like from the discussion we had right before this meeting, Joe, I don't know if you know, does he own it currently, or is he just looking at it?
Yeah, I don't believe so. I think he's waiting for the environmental reports to come back to make the final decision.
I think he has an option agreement of some sort.
Yeah,
Okay,
That's the best way.
that makes more sense.
yeah,
Because he's done quite a lot. For someone who has no ownership in the property. Anyway, so that makes a lot of sense. So, I touched base with him. He asked for me, to share a couple things with council. He is continuing to go through the DEP process from what he described and, maybe Mr. Corbel knows. It sounds like he's going through a phase 2 site assessment. With the DEP. He didn't know what it was called, but given the description of the activity, it sounds like that's what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening. It's solely because the last owner took it to the end, but didn't follow all the way through, so he has to start over and take it through to
Yeah.
give him that all clear. Or
Yeah.
here's how you can do this project and be all clear.
Yeah, so it sounds like he's nearing the end and he will very likely get an all clear, based on what he described to me. Mr. DeCosta had shared with us previously, he's interested in installing along that site several, sort of long linear storage units. They, based on the conversation I had with, Paul Kimikata, he's going to look into it, but it seems that there's not likely a zoning issue. So Mr. Waldman wanted me to check in with council to see if council would still be supportive of that use of the property. The other thing, before I ask you that I wanted to share, in light of Mayor DeMarco's email saying that she had heard that Westinghouse was gonna move the Atom Smasher. I asked him about that because I figured he would know. So apparently Westinghouse has done a full analysis of the possibility of moving the Atom Smasher. They have not committed to doing that, but they're thinking about it. They have to disassemble it somehow and to be able to get it on a truck. They wanna move it to Westinghouse, to Cranberry Township, where their new Westinghouse facility is, to showcase it there. Mr. Waldman would like very much for that to happen. And frankly, I don't blame him. But he wanted me to also test in with council to make sure that council, would be okay with Westinghouse taking the Atom Smasher to Cranberry Township.
That'd be fine.
I almost called you President Martin. Sorry, former President Martin.
I just had a question. Do we have a date when the move will happen?
No, we don't even know that the move is a certainty, but it's a possibility.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
I spoke to Ron Baranoff, who is the archivist and facilities manager at Rivers of Steel, who told me that they are in negotiation with getting them an $800,000 grant to pay for the moving of this artifact to Cranberry, to the Westinghouse.
Mr. Waldman thought that the move would cost north of $2 million. Just, I don't know if that's correct or not correct, but I had 800,000 in my head. He said, oh no, it's way more than that.
I know when we looked at putting it up here on this site, it would have been 250,000 at that time to just move a few blocks. So, you know, this is not a trivial one.
Any other questions? Any concerns? I mean, this is still a lot of maybes and ifs, but I just wanted to sort of test the water. No formal action as of now, but I'll report back to Mr. Wall.
That's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. That concludes my update.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Public Works, Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to just give an update on the Department of Public Works work order numbers. This has been going on for some time to have work order numbers entered. The full crew wasn't able to. Each truck had a tablet assigned to it. There were 2 purchased, but 2 more had to come for the remaining 2 trucks. And the cost was submitted from the foreman. The new tablets have been purchased. The next step was to make sure that all the employees have email addresses that are visible in Outlook. And Asset Essentials already has accounts for the employees. I just wanted to report the cost was already approved for the first 2 tablets that were purchased last year. And that figure is $249.99 each for Apple iPad A16 for a total of $499.98. Additionally, there's a service charge from AT&T, FirstNet Data, a monthly cost of $36.99 for a total of $73.98. Hoping to have a full report very soon.
Ms. Martin.
Yes,
There's another cost involved with each of those email accounts
yeah.
is a monthly cost.
Do you know what that is?
I do not offhand. I believe it's under $10 per account.
Thank you. Moving on then, the roads list for 2026 were discussed and the first round have been suggested. The final list may be available next month, but I'm not sure. If you've noticed, we have some new road signs that have the Forest Hills logo on them. Wilkins Road has one. If you get a chance to take a look, it's really very nice. There is an additional cost depending on the size of the name of the road, which is an additional $10 to $15 cost with the logo. We discussed that and didn't think it was too bad, and it's really a nice look for the borough. I've seen other communities that do that. Right now, these are being ordered for current road signs that are either have a defect or are worn out. But we also discussed getting signs for the unnamed alleys. And what we've ran into a problem is our current map is from 1970. And there may be some discrepancies with the name. So we're going to discuss that in committee next week. So to see if we can get an updated map before we move forward with that. And lastly, the update on the fire department issues. LSSE continues to go and meet with Chief Colella. I went myself a couple of times and have looked in manholes and seen sewers and learning more by the day here. But I did want to report that the roof that was leaking has been had a few small leaks for years. Public Works originally repaired it, but then our previous manager, Mr. Abrams, had already directed Mr. Smith to get a contractor. The roof is flat, so we're just waiting for nice weather and the roof will be repaired as well. That's all I have.
Sorry, didn't want to interrupt you, this was actually for the roads list.
Yes.
So our street just got rushed up for gas line replacement, which included one street that was repaved, I think just about 2 years ago. I was wondering if we have we had cooperation from the utilities up to date and how far out that they're planning those and notifications, so we don't want to accidentally doing that anymore in the future.
So are you asking if we
If we have a list, say that roads are gonna be done out, 1 year out, 2 year out, 3 years out, for gas line, et cetera.
Oh, I know LSSD is working on something, especially, so we would like pave a road and then it would collapse because the underlying sewer was messed up. So they're trying to work with, oh, I don't know if it's the water company or someone to try to get an agreement. Is it the water company? Thank you. I thought that's who it was. I know for that, I don't think we can estimate with gas line, but LSC does look into it. Yes, Ms. Lewis?
I think I know what Councilman Bacon is asking about. And that is, are the utility companies willing to share their capital improvement schedule such that we wouldn't pave a road? And then the following year, they saw cut their way right through our brand new road. And the sad reality is, in my experience as a COG director, trying to do that across a region, very few utilities are willing to do that. And the only one that's very active about doing it right now is Pennsylvania American Water, in my experience. So we've tried collectively as a region, worked on that for a while, and unfortunately, the utilities have not been willing to collaborate and share their maintenance schedule ahead of schedule.
Well, then the answer is no. Okay, anything else? Mr. Morris?
Yeah, just to comment on what Ms. Lewis was saying, I don't know if things have changed, but I know for a number of years, I think when Mr. Tomasic was president or vice president, and some other people, Mr. Erbaldinger was here as president, for a number of years, we had some kind of agreement where some of the utilities would let us know when they were doing a road, and if they were going to do it, we would ask them, give us the money. Don't pave it yourself. We'll put it as part of our paving budget and then pave. And I believe that's something that had occurred before. So has that changed? I don't know. But you might want to investigate it because I know before I left, that was what was going on.
Thank you. I will look into that. Mr. President?
Yeah, I believe that has been done with the avenues when they were doing the work there.
Yes.
And as was mentioned, LSSE is looking at working with those utilities to try to get their schedule. So some of that is in place.
Doing it maybe as a test case for us to keep in mind, it sure seems like the especially Cascade Road that is by Rhineland Park that I know is near the top of our paving list last time, but not quite there. Is almost certainly gonna be in the next couple rounds of these gas lines and are definitely good test case for us.
Thank you. Anything else? Then that ends my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Public safety, Mr. DeCrosta.
I have no motions to request, I just wanted to give a few general updates. There's been some concerns that the speed monitors along Ardmore have been running out of energy, either because the solar panels are not pointing in the right direction, they're behind a tree, or they can't take the capacity of Ardmore Boulevard. So I spoke to Mike Smith. He spoke to the company that provides the monitors, and of course, they're telling us that Ardmore is too busy to maintain those types of speed monitors, and we might need to invest in larger ones. We don't know if that's really the case or not, so we're just looking into that, we're discussing it in committee and trying to get all the information we can to make a good decision so they can work for us, especially come spring. There's also been some discussion about whether the director of public works is able to release his employees for volunteer fire department duties during the day while they're working. I worked with Mr. Corwell to sort of do some research and hopefully draw up a policy that will provide some guidance to Mr. Smith, as well as the employees and council as a whole, just so we know the best direction to take that in. So, no one person is responsible for, making a mistake on that. One of the other things we've been talking about, especially since the storm last spring, was that summer, I can't remember that. We had a follow-up emergency response meeting to discuss how everything was handled. Since then, we haven't, a report was created out of that, but since then, we really haven't discussed anything further. I met with Chief Williams, because we were thinking that it was time to get an emergency response plan together, because no one on council was really aware of the formal plan, written plan that exists. Chief Williams tells me that, Keith Morris actually has, something, and so we should probably check with him. But in the meantime, we'll bring together all of the directors of the emergency services for our borough, to discuss, the plan that already exists, since it does, and any kind of changes we wanna make to it. What's that? Yeah.
Just to follow, some of what was done in that, the group of, and I think Meg, this emergency plan, was a little, much lower level than the stuff Keith Morris is concerned with. It was, some of it was deep in the weeds of mundane things like voicemail, things should be changed, who's in charge of doing, you know, a Tuesday morning, all the power goes out, what do we do in the borough building? And I think that's some of what, that's what we're talking about there. So there's two different levels, there's the big foreign
Yes,
thing,
yes.
and there's the mundane things that no one thought about. And much of what was done by the borough administration was this particular.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, so there's two levels to this. What we would do in the case, particular, you know, on the ground things, but the larger plan that exists and how we might want to deal with it to apply to several different kinds of emergencies.
As Mayor, I'm part of the emergency plan process, and I know during our discussions, one of the things that came up was information to citizens about what you do in the first 24 hours, besides call 911. And we had talked about developing some outreach to the citizenry about emergency preparedness and just general awareness, and possibly some communication systems within the borough when the power is out for an extended period of time. There were those kinds of operational things. I think it would be a good idea to formalize and write down and begin to act on those things. We've been fortunate this winter so far. You know, storms of the spring are just as bad, and in the summer as well. So I think I would encourage you to convene that, you know, expeditiously. I'm really happy to help with that.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And just the last thing was, as we discussed a bit earlier, I spoke to Chief Williams. He already has given me a list of some budget requests for this coming year, so we'll start the questions. But that concludes my report. Unless any other questions.
Thank you, Mrs. DeCrossa. Anyone else? Mayor DeMarco?
And nothing further to add, there's commenting as well.
Okay. Chief Williams, have anything?
I just wanted to mention, I spoke to the bar, you said that the borough probably needs to have contact with the county for their overall emergency plan. We could either agree to take on that plan as well, or there's a big problem in terms of funding, so you know, RFP. Because people that he talks to in emergency management usually would become part of that as well. I don't know how long we have to do it, but.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, sure. Mr. Corbel?
Yeah, just one quick item to mention. We received the communication from Ameriserv, the folks that started this bar pension plans, that they were processing a former employee's pension, the defined contribution side of things, and noticed that there was a gap in the language of the plan. So the plan doesn't address what we do with borough contribution, right? So when employee submits money to the plan, there's a match from the borough. If they leave before they vest, what happens with the borough's money? They don't get to take it with them. And so the law is pretty clear on this, but Upon my review at AmeriServe, our recommendation is that we do a quick amendment to the plan that will allow the money to be used as the law provides, which is to be used for future matches, or to pay expenses of the plan. That's basically what the law says we can do with that money. Anyway, it just needs to be in the plan, so when they administer the plan, they have it in writing to do so. So I was just seeking, an acknowledgement that there's no objections for us to put together that kind of, ordinance to amend the, pension plan in the next several, meetings. Ms. Lewis,
I'm just curious, do we get state aid?
on the DC, I think we do. It's not the full freight, I don't believe, but it's some portion there.
I was just curious, we get a lot. It covers the whole match, that's why I asked.
Well, the DC.
And
is-
there are stipulations about how that state aid has to be. Cause when somebody's not vested.
Folks are in both plans, and like, I think the only person in the administration that did the DC plan, because I know it was you. It was Mr. Morris at the time, and it doesn't, so Mr. Morris, you were in both plans. Right, no, just the DC plan at the end of the day?
Just my own.
Okay, so yeah, so there.
But we did get some state aid eventually,
Yes,
yeah, from,
Yeah.
yes.
so it doesn't take away, there's just nobody in the that get a full rate. It's just a little different for the contribution side of things. But unless there are objections, we will put something like that together so AmeriServe can start to credit that money where it needs to be credited.
That needs to be done.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, our next meeting is Wednesday, March the 18th. Unless there are objections, this meeting will be adjourned. Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.